Hello, everyone. Welcome to Questions and Conversations on Leadership and Life with me, Poli and Steve. And on this episode, we dive into the concept of community, what it truly means, how it shapes us, and what makes a great community thrive. We'll share insights from our recent experiences, including powerful lessons from the Awakening Conscious Leadership experience with the exchange approach. So grab a pen and join us as we reflect on what community means to each of us and how it plays a crucial role in leadership and life. What about community?
Polly and I just spent 3 days in the Awakening Conscious Leadership experience, which had a lot of memorable moments. And in particular, we got to hear a presentation by Danielle Laporte, the author of How to Love. And she had a section in there on community, and it was very powerful. Polly, a couple things that stood out to me from her presentation regarding community was one, community is velocity, and ego cannot hide in a loving community. Were there any things regarding community from Daniel's talk that stood out to you?
Yes, I go also with community's velocity because we do thrive when we are in community. We learn so much more because I have my perspective, my points of view, but whenever I'm listening to somebody else, I can expand my ideas. I might not be in the same boat, like, oh, I totally agree, but I am expanding ideas and I can think from these different perspectives, which is so important for everyone. Like, see from a 360 angle. I like that. But I have a question before we go deeper in it. How do you see community? What does the word community mean for you?
Well, thank you for the question. I think of community as a group or a gathering where there's some commonality of purpose, where they have shared interest, passion, or vision, or a commonality of purpose. And the reason I use the commonality of purpose is you and I might have opposing points of view, but if we're truly in a community, our purpose is to have a dialogue, which means to weave in and out, versus a discussion, which rhymes with percussion, which is butting heads together. So to me, community is a shared purpose. It doesn't, generally, I think most of us would think of it as, a common interest, passion, or purpose. But I think I'm just wrapping it up with a shared purpose is very important for community that validates or values opposing points of view in the spirit of mutual learning and exploration. How about yourself? Did any of that resonate with you, or maybe you have a slightly different twist on that?
The shared purpose is something big when I think of community. And I was just thinking of the places we can see community frequently. Like you like to play pool, you are part of a group, so you do have a community there. And where I go here at the church, I have a community at church as well. Where we live, we have the HOAs, which is usually like one in front of the other. There is a shared purpose, but there is also friction. But it is a community. It is. Yeah. That's interesting to think of all the communities we belong to, we are part of. And the ones we are part of, but we feel as we do not belong.
Yes. So that is, hold that thought, because I think the question we're going to invite people, and you and I will reflect on as well today, that could very well be into that. Should I go ahead and share the question that you and I are going to reflect on today, invite our audience in to share as well?
Sure. What do you have for us today?
Well, today the question is, what makes a great community? And if you hold that space that Polly and I just kind of talked about our thoughts on community, maybe that placeholder for what a community is would be helpful. But what makes a great community? You might think about, what are some common traits of a thriving community? Another thought, Polly, might be as they think about community, what's present in a thriving community, and I might suggest that equally important is what's absent. So present, an example of present might be a willingness to speak, um, and what's absent. What are the characteristics of a great community? Or if a community is great, maybe a better way to ask the question, if a community is great, what's not happening that makes that community great, as well as what is happening? So those were my thoughts. Did you have any memory joggers before we give them 4 to 5 minutes with some of your nice music to reflect on this question?
I believe we are good to go, and we can always think, oh, I have not lived community, but where have you seen it at
Ah,
its
I like
best?
that. Yes, yes. Where have you
Where have you
seen
seen it?
it?
Yeah. If you have not lived through, have not had this experience, where have you seen it? Even if it's from a movie,
Yeah,
even if
yeah.
if you've seen something in the movies, like,
That's
even
great. And I'll just that prompted a thought for me, in the hierarchy of needs, love and belonging is kind of right towards the top. Maybe another thought, what's communities that you want to belong to? What creates that? What creates that desire to belong to that community? So I think that's probably some good prompts to get people started. And coming back to the main question is, what makes a great community? And so what we're gonna do, we'll give Polly and I are gonna reflect while the music's playing. We'd invite you to pick up a pen, sheet of paper, and reflect on that question. And the way this works is when we come back, um, Polly and I will share with each other our thoughts. And we'd love you to drop your comments in if you are of the head or heart to do so. Brevity is clarity. And so to get as many people in the space of the platform we're using, maybe think in terms of the essence of it. And Polly, I found it helpful, like the headlines on many things are like 220 to 250 characters, something like that. So that's generally a sentence or two. So think it through, write it down, but then to bring your voice into the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and maybe just some encouragement, um, so that we can get as many people in the space we're allotted as possible. Think in terms of one or two sentences that really capture the essence of your answers. So, Polly, are we ready to reflect? And if
absolutely,
you could bring
absolutely.
in, I can't wait to see what Polly's got on the magic music box today.
That's a good question. Ta-da. Okay. There you go. Time's up. Got my thinking here.
Maybe you start by you sharing your reflections and I'll share mine.
Yeah, so when you asked the question, it brought me to two moments in life. Thinking of a community that I was like part of and really touched my heart, touched and touched till nowadays. I will go back 20 years ago when I was part of Rotaract. I've already mentioned this before, but for me it was like a huge international community, starting local and growing. But how people were there, everybody felt they belonged, no matter the color of the hair, no matter thin or fat, tall or short. It was just like we are here for a bigger purpose, which was growing as individuals with one another and thinking globally, like with projects for the community, like local community, and projects for the global community. So that for me was just amazing. And the gatherings we would have was just like we are focused on the work, but we also have the time to have leisure and pleasure, like enjoy the moment. And lots of learnings through that time. I was part of it for 10 years. 20 years ahead in the future to the moment we are now, the community that I am part of is exchange. And I see so much of the resemblance with these two communities. You are welcome the way you are, and everybody is open to share, to connect, to support one another, doing good like 101 or to gatherings of 500 people with events like local and global. So this is just like amazing. And the core of one community and the other, for me, is this shared purpose, the love and the belonging. So I belong to that one the way I was, the way I am. I belong to the one I am, just the way I am. And I can bring myself in being authentic. And there is this embracing of the differences and the respect for the different ideas. Everybody's listening and growing from the differences, I would say. So, yeah, those were like two super communities. These are two super communities for me that are part of my heart. And because
Oh,
of one of them, the later, that's how we met. And I
yeah,
am,
that,
yes, so
that
thankful for this.
that's what brought us here today. And I really appreciate what you shared. I like the contrast between the space and time between the two. And I really appreciate the common theme, which was the basis of our question, that love and belonging, that love and belonging. And another point that was one of my points is like we're on the same page here. That was one of my points that I was going to bring up. But the other thing I really reflected, and our teachers as part of the exchange community, the safety part of our brain, the oldest part of our brain, it is always, anytime we go anywhere, whether we really are aware of it or not, it is asking ourselves, can I enter this room and be my authentic self? Can I be me? And not only be accepted, but feel safe in this community? And can I speak the whole truth with my whole heart? Uh, so true. I'm 100% on board that love and belonging, the ability to uh, be your authentic self and be accepted by the community really are things that are present in successful communities.
And I can bring an example. I was just talking to a friend of mine this week. She started a class, online class about changing habits. And she was like, the content is awesome. I've heard from people who ran through the course and really had a quite of a change. But when I am online with the others, it's like the person who is facilitating is not facilitating. So I don't feel as I am in community with the others, and I know I could grow much more, and they could also if we had more of interaction. So it also comes to the point of when you were preparing yourself to do something, it is not just about content, but it's about building this community safety environment, the psychological safety. So there is sharing, there is connection, and then it's where you really belong when you can talk to somebody else, exchange ideas.
Yeah, that's just an excellent point. Communities create, you used a word before, and this, what you just said emphasizes that, and this is a recent learning for me. Successful communities have this space in them. Yes, we have an agenda. Yes, we have a timeline, but they have space for connection built into the program. That white space or that bandwidth, so that connection and conversations can take place. And they take place as part of the gathering, not at the coffee break or at the vendor display. They're built right into it. I think that, and we're learning that from exchange. It's so important and so valuable, and really, if you think of the last two on the six basic needs of humans are growth and contribution. And I'm bringing that out because I really think those two things are part of a great community. And those are your the other ones ahead of that are really surviving. These growth and contribution are thriving. Those are thriving needs, and great
Yes.
communities allow the members to contribute to the community, and they grow from the community.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, from this conversation that we have just had, what do you believe is going to be your takeaway for the community you are part of, or anyone that you are building, a community that you're building?
Well, I'm taking away, I loved your reminder of the love and belonging. That was a great reminder to myself. And your use of the word space triggered that thought with me, because I recently, in some of these experiences, I have found when there is that space built in for the connection, and maybe space to me means a relaxed pace. Yes, we're going to accomplish what we want to accomplish, and we're going to honor the participants in the time we said we would. But in that container, we have space for questions, conversations, reflection, connection. Those would be my ahas.
Those are quite the ahas. I wonder what whoever is listening to us will be their ahas.
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
can't
forward
wait
to
to
writing this on the notes.
can't wait to see the comments, and we'll close out. Polly, if you had any final reflections. It's been delightful to be here today, and as always, I just really enjoy the opportunity to connect and have these conversations and invite others to share their thoughts.
Oh, I love this too. Questions and conversations, conversations and questions, being open to it, learning from one another. This is
Yeah,
wonderful. Thank you
yeah,
for the time
yep.
and thank you for the conversation.
Okay, well, this is on leadership and life, questions and conversations with Polly and Steve. Until next
Yeah,
time, make it a great day.
absolutely. We hope our discussion sparked some reflections on the role of community in your life and leadership journey. We would love to hear your thoughts, so please share your reflections in the comments. Remember, it's not just about talking, it's about listening, learning, and growing together. Episodes are dropped every first and third Tuesday of the month, so be sure to subscribe and join us again for more insights. Until next time, and make it a great day.